I felt greatly relieved when I received the approval notice. It also helped me feel like I was able to gain back my freedom, that I can move what I wanted. I was born in India, in the southern part of India, in Chennai. I did my medical schooling there. I moved to the United States in 2013, mainly to pursue my dreams of learning the best evidence-based medicine and practice medicine in the United States. I moved here and started my residency, and that was for 4 years. And I did my fellowship in critical care medicine for an additional 2-year training. That was at University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. Through the years of training, it's from 2013 to 2019, I was on a exempt H-1B visa during my training period. Then I moved to Missouri for my first job, which also required a visa for my training, for my practice of medicine. Initial years, I did not pay really much attention to the visa part. I was more focused on my training and learning. But a few incidents that happened through my training and in my first year of practice, which made me realize how visa played a significant role in my freedom. To quote, the first incident happened during my fellowship training. I lost my grandfather, who was primarily like my father, who raised me. At that time, I couldn't go to India because one of my colleagues who was on a similar visa got stuck in India for a lot of other reasons, and he couldn't come back. And that kind of scared me a little bit, like what if I couldn't go there and then come back and I couldn't finish my training. That was my first incident which I felt the visa restricted my movement between countries. The second incident happened during my ability to get my job. After my training, I was trained at University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, which is one of the premier institutes. They couldn't hire me back in the same place I trained because visa was a restriction, which really made me think a lot about it, because I was said you didn't qualify, not because of your credentials, not because of your training, but because of your visa. Because I did not have any control on the visa part. It was just what was offered for me at that point. So I came on a training for that. I was able to get a job in Springfield, Missouri for my first job, because that's where I could find a visa sponsoring person. Then during my first job, I lost another important family member. My aunt was my stepmother. My wife was pregnant at the same time. At that time, it was the beginning of COVID, and there was a lot of delays in visa stamping in India, 3 to 4 months of a wait time average. So that also made me stay here. And all these incidents through the years made me strongly think, okay, the visa is really restricting my freedom to practice what kind of medicine I want to practice. I want to be in an academic institution. Also, the ability to move back and forth between the countries. Because of all of these incidents, I strongly thought, okay, let me see what options I have based on my truly credentials and see what United States can offer me. That's when I explored NIW or EB1. I started looking at things, and then I applied for EB1. So that was my primary reason for looking at EB1. Encounters were mostly attorneys. I think I encountered a total of 2. Both were in the East Coast. Before, one of my good friends that I met in one of our medical conferences recommended to approach you. My previous experience with consulting the other law firms that I said before were not very helpful. Without mentioning any names, I think I personally felt they did not understand where I am coming from and what my credentials were. One of them were quoting, "Do you make any apps?" So I immediately understood I'm a medical doctor. They don't think they understand what my credentials are and what I'm looking for. I was mainly contacting them to get an idea of understand what are the USCIS requirements for EB1, and how does it apply to me, whether do I qualify or not. That was my initial thought process, but I did not get answers that I was looking for from both the law firms that I contacted on the East Coast. So that led me to contact you guys. Starting from the first phone call, I still remember having that phone call and then followed by a Zoom meeting in my home office. your representatives took time to understand who I am, what my training was, what I'm looking for. Then they were able to answer my questions in a very professional and unbiased and non-opinionated way. What the USAS qualification criteria are. Going through that, it made me understand most of those criteria were subjective. There's no exact quantitative numbers I have to meet. And then I submitted my CV. I asked for an evaluation of whether my credentials will fit or not. I really appreciate the frank answers about what are my chances. And they were very honest. These are your chances, and these are the ways you can improve your profile. And that helped me make a decision to move forward with applying. The initial approach was very professional, very clear, and an unbiased answer. I would say very professional, approachable, always on time, and accessible. Those things really help my experience in this. I didn't have multiple experiences to compare, but I think what I looked for, I had it. Starting from submitting all the documents, everything was arranged in a Dropbox, a simple, clear fashion, providing example documents for letters of recommendations, which helped me draft the letters and helped me understand what exactly is needed in each category. The feedbacks on the documents I submitted were always timely. And then if I had questions along the way, even while we're submitting, I had questions, can I go back to India? All of those questions are answered in a very timely manner. I was very satisfied through the process. Going through the process, I had more and more confidence. It built in my confidence. It was not like, okay, it was not purely out of luck, or it was like one day you're completely done, the next day you're happy. But I enjoyed the process as well. Getting the approval notice was, I think, the final light at the end of the tunnel. But going through the process with your law firm also helped me learn, okay, if you take the right steps, follow the due process, you know what's coming at the end. I felt greatly relieved when I received the approval notice. And it also helped me feel like I was able to gain back my freedom, that I can move what I wanted. First thing was I wanted to get an academic position. So I was able to move from Springfield, Missouri to a good academic position in Houston, Texas now, where I moved with my family. It was me, my wife, and a kid. So we had really hard time finding childcare for our kid at Springfield. Even moving back to Houston, we were able to be in a better city with better childcare support. My wife was able to also get a tele job because of the flexibility of the visa, EB1 and green card. So she's able to spend more time with the family. As a family, I would say we are very happy. And I'm professionally also happy because I was able to practice medicine in the way I want. If I have to go through the process again, if it's similar, like I said before, the process was very well explained. Both parties have to be together. It's not going to be one doing all lifting. I'm as a law firm, I'm going to do everything for you. You don't have to do nothing. I don't think that's the right approach. Both parties have to be involved, and I felt the involvement was mutual. So I was very happy. That's why I said, if I have to go through the similar process, I've recommended to a lot of my friends as well. It's very important to understand your own credentials, I think any person who's looking for, and then read the USCIS requirements and understand their English through a law firm who can translate into your situation, what criteria you qualify for, what additional criteria you need, and how to present those documents. Especially in my field in medicine, a lot of the doctors feel they have to be at Harvard to qualify for everything. So they have a they set themselves for, especially international medical graduates like me, set up for a very high bar. The USCS, don't get me wrong, they do set a bar, but even understanding what that bar is probably perceived differently by different people. It's better to approach through a law firm to understand that very clearly. Certain people have done it on their own, or people hear different news and different stuff, and then they just get confused. Oh, maybe they want patents, they want an Olympic achievement to be qualified for these criteria. I think it's very important to understand the criteria clearly, and having a professional explain you for your situation would make it better. I think your law firm has been very helpful. you had made really a significant change in my life. I'll always be grateful for that. It helped me get my professional career back on track in a place where I want to practice medicine. I would definitely say my family is more happy moving to a different city, and my wife is able to do the job she likes. And all of this has been possible because of one factor, which was probably outside of my control in the beginning of my training years. But of course, my credentials with the right law firm helped me achieve where I am right now.